Welcome to Cosmic ASSPLORATIONS Podcast, curated by the cosmos, narrated by Eva Skledar. Hello. Exploring the universe in and of us through a cosmic storytelling of astrology. I want to welcome you to this cheeky journey of sensual shadow play as we claim our liberated authentic expression through expanded pleasure and playful embodiment as a new default for living and loving. Welcome back, lovers. I'm so happy you're joining me for another beautiful cosmic dance. This time an exploration into holistic healing, conscious relating, and alternative living. And I'm joined by one of my favorites, my dear sister, Eva Skledar. She is a wild woman, a transformative dancer, an earthly witch, a tea ceremonialist, and one of my muses. She's an amazing space holder, a nurturer of authentic sisterhood through her Yoni Galaksija gatherings in Ljubljana. So if you're there, make sure to check it out. And overall, she's just an inspiring example of what it means to live freely in her body, in her expression, in her life choices. And we are here to talk all about it today. This episode was recorded in her tiny house off grid in the forest. And we do talk about what it's like to live in tune with nature and in connection with the ancestral heritage, the way that our ancestors lived. And that comes also to our health, what we take in our bodies. And Eva shared her story of having Lyme disease and experiencing chronic burnout, fatigue, chronic pain, and how she transformed that through conscious eating and somatic regulation. This is something that is dear to my heart because I have experienced a lot of bodily initiations over the last few years as well. And I think this beautifully shines the light on the challenges that probably more or less we all face, and then bounce between different self-medication treatments and extreme diets and coping mechanisms. And as we know, our health is intricately connected with our hormonal balance, and that shows up in relationships as well. So we dive deep into the conscious relating field, navigating the codependency, enmeshment, talking about different attachment styles, people-pleasing tendency, what it means to set and honor boundaries. And this is very well connected to the collective transits that we're experiencing with Libra, South Node right now. So it is probably at the forefront for all of us in one way or another. And underneath all of that is a question of safety, question of freedom, our emotional maturity and flexibility. We dive into all of that in this episode. So I invite you to take a deep breath, lean back, and if you want to see in the video of us bouncing, you can also go to my YouTube channel. I just started doing the video podcasting, trying it out. Very low-key, very lo-fi, let's say. But nonetheless, we rock and roll. You find me at Eva Skledar Cosmic ASSPLORATIONS everywhere. And you also find me at Eva's podcast, which is called Havvah Podcast Zivljenja, where we had a pleasure to record another episode on sisterhood and living in a tantric community in Sweden. So if after this episode you want to hang out with us more, you can. It will be in the show notes below. So thank you for being here once again. I love you.
Welcome to Cosmic ASSPLORATIONS.
Welcome!
I am sitting here in a tiny little wooden cottage in the middle of nowhere by the forest with my dear sister holding my boobie so that I don't hold the mic. Eva.
Hello, dear.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being here in my home. It's really such a joy and pleasure to have you here.
We're recording this under the lunar eclipse in Taurus, and our heads have been spinning and we've been feeling dizzy. And at the same time, we're just cocooning off grid in your house where you live with your partner. And in this embrace of the sisterhood. So we have no idea where this podcast episode is going to take us. So thank you for being here with us. It's the perfect Shakti flow while drinking tea, a practice that we share.
Yeah.
And I guess I just want to first let others get to know you.
Yeah.
What is your focus at this point in your life? What do you play with? How do you dance through this existence?
Do I dance? Yeah. So, well, at this moment, my focus, it's not so present, really. Like, I'm really much, like, all over the place. But at the same time, I am slowly getting to my focuses and I'm building some structures around my life. Because for the past 2 years, my life's been, like, more free flow and really like just feeling myself and healing my body, because I've been going through some deep burnout and chronic pains. So my focus was really on healing myself, and now slowly I feel I have this capacity to open up to the world, to share the knowledge I've gained, the experiences. And so it's slowly like I'm weaving together all this knowledge and just feeling what is my value to offer to this world, what, like, where is my place?
Wow, but what a beautiful process. Like, I think this is well, nowadays a privilege, but the way that I feel it's the most natural to just like be with yourself, explore life, play a bunch, try different things, and then something naturally arises, rather than the way that our system has put us. When you're 18, you've got to know what you want to do, you're going to do it for the rest of your life, you're going to blah, blah, blah. It's like,
I mean, I've definitely been there, like I went through this process, but then at some point when I was studying, like, it just got to me, like, I'm fucking not feeling well, I need to change something. And it was a process of now 3-4 years, really. And like, it hasn't been so easy, because before I had this clear image of myself. Oh, I finished this university, like my life will be, I don't know, ordinary, like, or something. But then, of course, like, some part of me, my spirit, I don't know, it wants more from life. I really feel like I want to dance through this life.
And she is a line too in Human Design Lives work, which is the line of the dancer, and that is what we share. And we're gonna get
also
to
dancer.
Yeah, I'm also a dancer. Can't you see that in my giving spot?
I can.
Well, thank you. No, but like, we're gonna get to this part because I know it's such a juicy part, the movement, the embodiment medicine that you explore. But I know you studied medicine, and I think it's quite, dare I say, hilarious that you're studying medicine while you're getting sick, and that kind of redirects you into going deeper into the natural medicine, alternative medicine. Would you be willing to share a little bit more about this journey and how your holistic well-being has emerged?
It's really been a deep and long journey, I would say. Like, I've been interested in the body and everything for a really long time, and of course part of it was also studying medicine. And I definitely got a really good base in like understanding and having this clear picture of what the body is and how it functions with studying medicine. And then, of course, when I started to get worse in my health, I was first I started to be vegan, but then my problems really started to arise, honestly. But it's not only connected, of course, with this, but I started to eat more raw food, which started to cleanse my body even more, and toxins started to come up. And then I also had borreliosis, Lyme disease. Like, I got a tick that was how it's called, like, it had this
Lyme disease,
this bacteria. And I got it, but I already had it before, they said. And this, again, like, a lot of symptoms came up with this. And for me it was first discovering herbs, and I started to really discover how herbs can support me. And actually I was really bloated at the time, and like, I don't know how this plant is called in English. Pelin is in Slovenian. We can add later maybe in. But it like really helped me with my bloatness. And then slowly I also started changing definitely my diet. It was a big thing. To have like, I have this morning drinks that are lemon, raw honey, and raw apple cider vinegar. And I feel like this really supports my body because it flushes kind of the toxins that come out in the night in digestion. Like I drink this and first everything goes out in the morning before I start my day. And then definitely like I started to sleep more and do less, like, you know, because I was doing so much. So this was like really big thing, like sleep and do less.
The secrets to your well-being. Yeah, it's usually the simplest, nah?
Yeah.
But how did you get across all of like these different approaches in your research?
Yeah, first I definitely started to like, I was really into yoga. I was studying yoga and Vedic traditions and all of this.
Also Ayurveda?
Yeah. I didn't catch. Yeah, I have books at home also about Ayurveda, but then like something in me when I started to discover herbs and plants in Slovenia, you know, like I was feeling more and more into like, I want to discover what was here, like what my ancestors, how they lived. Like I feel there is so much gifts in Ayurveda and all this knowledge is like so precious and it really worked. But like from my perspective, it's on the other side of the world, you know, like there is totally different climate, people live differently, they move differently. And this was what was calling me really, to get to know what my ancestors did, what supported them. So I got to know this lady that is kind of my mentor teacher, that she's called Mojca Vozel, and she has this primal food community in Slovenia. And like I was already I was quite bad when I met her. I would say that was like the peak of my burnout and my chronic pain.
And how did that look like for you?
Yeah, for me it looked like I didn't really have like physical energy. When I woke up in the morning, I felt like truck drove over me, you know, like my whole body was in pain. All the muscles of my body hurted, and I had chronic headaches. And like I just had meditation and maybe some yin yoga in the morning and ate breakfast, and I was so tired I had to go to bed again. And
honestly, it sounds like most people feel all the time, but it's just been so normalized that we don't make, you know, any distinction. Like I know that I used to function like that for a very long time, up until recently. It was like, oh, well, you're bloated. Oh, okay, isn't everyone? I've been my whole fucking life. I have chronic fatigue. I'm constantly on the verge of a burnout. But this is just how you function in the modern world. And so to actually wake up to the fact that no, this is not normal, to have very painful menstruation, menstrual cramps is also not normal. How do we bring our body back to the equilibrium? And then you go down the rabbit hole with all of the different modalities that promise you that, you know, now magic solutions. And it's really, it's an interesting way to navigate what works for your body. And like you said, Ayurveda and all of these ancient kind of health systems, so much wisdom and beauty. And at the same time, they were kind of derived for the people of that time as well. And right now, like it was not meant for us to be sitting by our desk in front of the screens for the majority of the day. Eating the shitty food from the deprived soil that we now have.
Yeah, so really, like you were saying, what comes to me now, like one of the key things is like to put all the processed food away, you know, like this is like really big thing already, to do whatever diet you have, just to try to eat like whole foods, you know, that are not already pre-processed, I don't know how many times. And then also like what can support us in all of this, like what gave me this tuning in with my body was, you know, like me started doing yoga, being mindful. being mindful about our bodies, like actually started to feel our bodies, because then you can see like, what the fuck, this is not normal, that like I'm all the time in the pain or whatever, you know.
Actually noticing, what does this alignment feel like? Because otherwise it's just a normal state of being. So attuning to, because I totally get you. Like I would eat something and it would make me feel bad, but that's normal that I feel so bad after.
Or you don't even notice so much. You are just like normal, and
you just take coffee and you go.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, coffee or something in the morning, and you have this rocket in your ass and you're good to go, right?
And the thing is that because we've been feeling so chronically unwell our whole lives, we don't even know what the difference feels like. What does it feel like to be healthy? You know, at the beginning of this year I did 10 days Vipassana, and that was like a big bodily wake-up call for me of the ways that my body has been chronically inflamed for many years. You know, I've been a sugar addict, like chocolate, food in general has really been the way that I've been soothing my nervous system. It used to be that basic core, dare I say, only sense of safety, pleasure, feeling good throughout when I was growing up, and especially in my teenage years, you know, being really pressured, stressed at school, feeling misplaced, misunderstood. I would get home and taking food and chocolate into bed, binge watching some series allowed me to plug out, dissociate, and be in my safe little space. And that became so deeply ingrained that, you know, it became a coping mechanism that has not been serving me anymore. And so Vipassana kind of opened that up and changed it up. But then I went into the other extreme, right? Which I think a lot of people then wake up and we have this panic response. Now I gotta do something about it. And we go into even other extremes. So I went and cut all of the sugars, carbs, oils, all kinds of things out of my diet, because I felt like I've had a huge candida overgrowth and my skin was itchy and so on. And it was amazing at first, like those first 2 weeks of the diet. Well, I was eating just raw vegan diet without any kind of oil. No
did you
fruits
eat fats?
even. I did not.
Not so even healthy fats like avocado or unrefined coconut oil.
I think I was eating avocado, but I was living in Bali, so I didn't really have a functioning kitchen like a lot of people in Bali don't. We just eat outside, where you think you're eating very, very healthy food, but actually sugar is added, chili oils are being used, and so on.
So it's tasty.
That it is. But I went into it from the state of panic, not very well informed. And the first 2 weeks were actually amazing, as I was cleansing and the first time experiencing in my life probably how it feels to not be fucking pressed down by sugar, by the cloudiness. Like my mind was sharp. I was able to process my emotions more quickly. I had this clarity and connection to my body that I haven't felt before. But then that nitty-gritty part came of the detoxification, and I got a flu-like symptoms. And then all of the older demons came out, and some emotional processes that have been from my teenage years that I have forgotten about or have suppressed so deeply that we're now able to we're cleansing out. But because I wasn't informed about it, I didn't have a proper support. I relapsed. Went again into another kind of extreme of then binge eating and taking all kinds of sugars, which put me on a bed rest. Literally for a month, I was lying in bed, binge eating. I've been vegan for 7 years. I ate pizza with normal cheese like twice, you know, like all of the controlling mechanism just broke.
At this point, I would really like to point out like what I've learned through my journey is like these extremes and like the things that they sold us as like detoxification, go on this detox and that detox. Like from my perspective, like it's not safe and it's not healthy, it's not natural, because our bodies are cleansing all the time. Like this is our body's function, that it cleanses all the time. We just got to learn how to actually support our body in this. And like you said, you were eating mostly at that time when you like did this extreme, you started to eat a lot of raw vegetables, as I heard right. Yeah, but not so much fruit.
No, because I went zero
Yeah,
sugar.
yeah, yeah. But like raw vegetables and raw fruits are really detoxifying food, you know. But our toxins are stored in our fat and our muscles and muscles not so much, in our organs. And then with these foods, you kind of get them out in your bloodstream, into your circulation. But how do they get out? Because like our liver get really how it's called, like it's too much for them. Overloaded. Yeah, and they cannot clean, so like they cannot put out so much as it's coming out from.
So you do the reverse.
Yeah, it's like it can be really bad because you have toxins in circulation, and it can really damage your nerves, you know, and your functions, and then you get flu-like symptoms because like body is overloaded
and you don't actually release.
So what I've learned and what really supports me and also helps my nervous system, everything, is like raw fats, like unprocessed fats. In case if you are vegan, this is like avocado and coconut oil, like cold pressed virgin. And in case of I'm not vegan, I am like flexitarian or something, like I eat everything.
I host these kind of people on the podcast. We don't discriminate. Oneness, love.
This is me, and I really feel supported and guided in this, honestly. And so for me, this is like a lot of raw milk products that I get from a really good source that is grass-fed. And I've met those animals. I know the people who work with them. So they are like really fed only with grass. So I eat a lot of milk products, and these healthy fats actually bind toxins that they can get out of the body in a healthy way. Like they are like toxin, and fat comes around and it goes through digestion, because our digestion, you know, is also like our digestive tract and our flora is really bad for the most of the people. And you get even more damage with toxins being around.
So one aspect is like knowing how to physically detox, and then the other aspect is having the emotional and
definitely
psychological support, because you're not only cleansing your body, your body's storing all kinds of trauma and repressed memories and emotions. So to know how to move through that so that your nervous system doesn't get hijacked, which happened in my case, and I'm just now
But did you have any support at that time, like proper?
I hired a holistic coach then, which wasn't very aligned. I hired her from like a very desperate state of being, not so well informed, or maybe I had too high expectations. I definitely didn't feel that holistic support that was presented at first.
I think it's hard to get like whole holistic support from one person, you know? Like,
well, no, I think there are certain standards. Like you can tell me what to eat in the morning and where to get those foods, but if it's like there has to be, like I said, emotional, psychological support and some basic psychology back with it, so that, you know, if I'm in this pattern of, if food is my safety and I want to binge, to tell me, oh, just drink a glass of water, it's not gonna do the trick. There has to be a deeper understanding of how the psyche works and how the trauma acts.
For me, this was like I had different supports. Like I had this mentor that was mostly in foods, even though she has like also this emotional, spiritual, psychological background, but maybe it wasn't so much focused, even though she adds on. But at the same time, I was having somatics therapist. It's like he's from IQ methods. He's Slovenian, Karim Al-Saleh. And I was working with him regularly for like a year and a half or 2 years. And I was also regularly doing somatics. And through this IQ method, you are really growing through subconscious patterns and looking into mother-father relationship, which is like, for me, it's like the root of most of the things, family background and everything. So this was kind of my combination that I started almost at the same time. So I would
Right.
say these two really, of course, it was many other things, you know, but this was my, because I think it's really important when you're in such a situation, like you said, there's so many methods, so many things out there, you know, to find something and try to really tune into it. Does it really support me or not? And then kind of try to stick with it. And because this was my anchor when I found these two things, you know, because when you feel so bad, you really need like emotional and like in all aspects, you need some anchor. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So these are what would you say are the aspects that then really helped you move through it, and what did that journey open up to you later on?
Well, this is very complex question.
Welcome to my world.
The answer is really multi-layered. It was a slow progress, you know. Like I said, first it was a lot about rest, because my nervous system was completely unregulated. It was like roller coaster, you know. And it was a slow learning of tuning into my body, what it needs. So I had a job at the time that kind of supported my living, but I was feeling worse and worse. So I also kind of quit the job. And I don't know what was my plan. I didn't have it. Like I was thinking I will live from savings and then I will figure out something. And then at that time, my partner actually like started to having his own business. So he started to support me. So this was kind of like some kind of release to actually get this space and time for the first time in my life, that I don't have to worry about where I live. But at the same time I was having a lot of anxiety around it, because we were living in Ljubljana. I come from a countryside. I'm really like forest girl. I really like
forest names.
So I was having this was actually one of the things that was also keeping me down, because I was having so many emotional triggers and anxieties around living in the city, and I really did not feel supported living in the city. So we were all the time in this search also of how to go live in nature. So this is also part of this equation for me. Living in nature, having this quietness, you know, like you said, you don't hear cars. It's fucking peaceful. I have forest. I can go out. I can be naked. Like I just step outside and I have grass. I go barefoot. So this is also what I had actually in my yoga teacher training thesis, not thesis, like
the final
paper. It was about grounding, because for me this is also a really big part. Being in nature, being grounded. So nature is really big part of my equation, definitely. Next to food and emotional patterns and like everything. So then we found this place, and it was again a crazy kind of ride coming here. It was not really smooth, but I'm here now, and I really feel supported by being in nature.
What is it like living off-grid?
Again, very multi-layered. Like I've learned a lot of things since I've been living here.
And what does it even mean to live off-grid? Like, what does it come with?
Living off-grid means that you live somewhere where there is no electricity lines and how it's called, water system from the government or whatever. Like you are on your own, so you need to take care of your own electricity, of your own water. That's it basically, off-grid. And like there is like toilet and everything you need to figure out on your own. And this is,
you pee outside wherever you want. You just pull your pants down, and then you're done.
Children really teach you how natural this is. And I've been having like quite some struggles when I go to the city now, and I cannot pee anywhere, you know, like it doesn't feel natural. Like I need to withhold my urine, and like I don't know, it doesn't feel like people in the past had to go through this.
Lucky them. Although I know we had this conversation last night of how much it actually took to work with the seasons and make all like prepare the food for the winter, and like it was a completely different lifestyle. And I guess living here gives you a taste of that.
Yeah, it does.
How much we have for granted in the modern society.
So much, really, like having running water in our houses, having showers, washing machines, dishwasher, like everything, like it's crazy how different lifestyle that was. And you see how much effort and time of your day it actually takes to take care of basic chores here, because like we use rainwater for washing everything, and we have the collector from the roof, so which is like already a lot, but we still need to go and carry just rainwater, you know, or drinking water, we need to go to the spring and again carry it, or like just these basic needs. And also making fire in the winter, it's not just like central heating. You wake up and everything is warm and it's nice. Like in winter, this year we just plastered with clay to have more insulation, but in winter when we woke up, it was sometimes like 5 degrees, you know.
It's like living in a van.
Yeah, basically.
Right. And what has been some of the most how long have you been here now?
Like in this house we've been till since last June, so this is what, year and a half around. Yeah, and before we were living, like co-living in a bigger house, which was not planned and very emotional and a lot of ups and downs.
It's also like a cute tiny cottage, and it's the two of you, and sometimes like having a personal space, we talked about it, has its own challenges. And you have your own podcast, which is called
Havvah Podcast, podcast of life in Slovenian.
Podcast Zivljenja.
Podcast Zivljenja.
And I know you guys share quite a lot about what you're going through.
As a couple, we haven't actually shared so much about living off grid, but we want to. But
so I'm just curious, like, what have been some of the most surprising elements living off grid and together in a small house?
So living in such a tiny space really confronted us with each other in a way, you know, because like we spend so much time like together in each other's face, like we cannot hide away. And I would say this is also like bringing us deeper and deeper to see our patterns and what really supports us. Because for me, like living off grid, it's really learning what do I need and what do I want in life, because we are so spoiled spoiled, like we have all these things that it's just not so
that we take for granted.
Really
automatized.
And coming to live here really put me on the solid ground, or like reality check. What do I want, what do I need? And also in our relationship, it kind of feels like this. It's really reality check-in about us. What do we actually want from relationship? How do we want to function as individuals? How do we want to function in a relationship? How much space, like energetically, we need as a person? Even though like I still feel that we are a bit again, we are a bit spoiled in nowadays, because sometimes they definitely lived in much smaller spaces, but now our functioning and our dreams are, I don't know, like bigger or something.
They don't fit in this room.
Because just like, I don't know, I'm still learning this, because I also observed myself today in the morning. I woke up before you and I came down and like I had my morning meditation, and you know, like everything is here, you can hear everything. And I was observing myself, and I also felt a bit constricted in myself, and it also came a bit of anxiousness, because I knew you were sleeping and I wanted to give you this space and peace so you can like wake up in your own rhythm. But it also like I questioned like like how can I fulfill my need of having my morning routine and like moving freely. So there's not like there's not so much freedom when you live in such, I mean it is freedom, but like personal
it comes
freedom
with other aspects.
you know. And it was interesting to see that now you were here, it was not Peter, that it also came up, you know.
Mhm.
And then I went out, and it was okay. I was doing things outside. I was tapping myself, and I don't know, because you know, like here you can hear every move basically. You know, like I was just like really lightly massaging my breasts, and I could hear you here because you were like you can hear these little sounds, and you were hearing them.
I actually put like
Ear
chapki,
You had
earplugs.
them with you.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
but I totally get you. Yeah. It's a fine lining of how, you know, because in some ways it is going back to the way our ancestors used to live, and it's much more natural for us humans to live together in unity, in connection, in collaboration, support, and at the same time, there are so many different ways of being that became a priority, and also it's a very interesting way to navigate.
Because it's also like, you know, when we shared this on our podcast in Slovenia, but like we got really this enmeshment with each other, where I started to feel I'm really starting to lose myself and my own individuality, and what is my path, you know, because like Peter has his own path and his own idea of what are his interests and what he wants to do, and it's not like just natural that I will have the same interests. And he spends like a lot of time on computer, and when you are in such a small space, he takes a lot of this energetical space just being on the computer.
The whole world gets into the room.
You know. And then I don't know when, because at the time I wasn't so much focusing on earning my own money yet. I was still like in this process of healing, but because he was working all the time and like he was energetically in this bubble of working, you know, I wasn't feeling comfortable, like, oh, I should also be working. So it was also this struggle, how can I actually take space for this rest and tuning into myself while other person is just right next to me working on the computer like whole day. And I feel a lot of guilt pressure came up.
Wow, a lot of things are coming up for me when you're speaking this. I think this is so important and something that I have experienced in my life too. Like, first of all, I imagine that coming to live off grid it kind of like liberates certain templates of how relationships and how our lives should look, because it's so much easier to slide into the way that everyone functions in the cities, for example, or in our society, where the roles are slightly more defined, and it's just, this is how things are done, right? And then you come here and you need to learn all these new things and build them, and everything kind of relies on you. And I think it's beautiful what you keep saying in our conversations, how much through this relationship and living in such an environment, you're learning about yourself, right? And right now we're going astrologically through a transit of the South Node, the energy that is asking to be released, transmuted, something that is kind of our comfort zone, but it's not working anymore. It's going through Libra. So the relationships are at the forefront of where are we enmeshed, like you said, where are we kind of being in codependent patterns that are not serving us, where are we people pleasing and abandoning ourselves, going away from what truly matters to us to just to keep a sense of harmony, which Libra wants, right? Or where our capacity to understand another is actually making us break our own boundaries. This is something that I used to struggle in my relationships, where I have a wide capacity to understand where you're coming from and your childhood trauma and why this is important to you. And I know, and I want it for you. And I was afraid, and I'm afraid to cross your boundaries. I want you to feel comfortable. And in that, I cross my own. And so I needed to learn that sometimes it's not when other person says no, that's a clear boundary, but sometimes my boundaries, but this is a non-negotiable yes for me. And how do we navigate that? So I imagine a space like this confronts you with this aspect even more. And there is this strand for another year, while the North Node, the direction in life, what we're learning through this cycle, is in Aries. It's about our individuality. Who are we authentically? What do we want? What do we desire? What is our natural impulse to move and create and take action? So it is a real test in relationships of any kind, whether partnership, business, romantic, family, therapeutic, like all of the whole of relationship to life are natural resources. Any kind of commitment, and we have one of the greatest commitments that we have in this life is commitment to the world and how we treat our earth and how we treat our humanity and so on. And so, yeah, looking from the macro perspective into the micro of how we navigate this in our own lives and how we navigate this at large.
Yeah, this is really like one of my life, I don't know, callings in a way. Like that before I preach anything or not preach or just like express and talk about things, that I want to actually experience and live this, you know, like how can I talk about, I don't know, how to take care of the earth if I don't live in nature? I mean, for me, this is just like, it goes hand in hand. Like if we want to take better care of earth, of our Pachamama, like we need connection with earth.
For sure.
How can you know, like, and this is like,
for sure. And what I see here is like, I'm a philosopher, okay? I'm not the most handy woman, although I'm not so great at taking that fucking equipment and digging into the dirt.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
Exactly. But I can, because I'm not, I can also see some other perspectives that a person who is so much in touch and so much in the what is possible, what is not possible in certain area, can sometimes not be able to see. So yes, you gotta have a relationship, but it looks different. And I think what you also said before of living with someone or being in a relationship, seeing what they do and how they do it, and that pressure that, oh, I need to match this energy. And this is why I love systems like astrology, human design, genekeys, because it really points out of how you bring your unique values, energetics, skills into the occasion, and how this is what sustains us, the differences between us. And it's a matter of then compatibility and acceptance of one another and these differences. And do they actually work together? Or are they too different to come into the same space?
Yeah, this has really been one of
how
our
are you
learnings.
navigating that?
Yeah, because we are kind of really we have really similar values, but at the same time we have different traits of our personalities. Like I'm much more fiery, like easygoing, like I don't know.
Oh, you're the Shakti, babe.
Yeah. And he's like really quiet, mysterious, Zen, meditative person. Shiva, like, you know, and we in this enmeshment, we kind of tried to, you know, come together, and we were, of course, in a way compromising on our own traits just to like meet each other and to kind of have this harmony, because we were, of course, all the time looking for this balance and harmony, but it was just like at the moment it felt like we went through this on this path and we walked it, and slowly we started both to feel constricted and kind of trapped in this, that we are putting too much of ourselves on the side, you know. Like I've really learned through our relationships. This is true. In Slovene we say something is true and something sneezes, that, you know, like I really learned the beauty of silence, of being meditative, of being more, you know, like shanti, like really like Zen. And Peter, to me, really learns, you know, the beauty of this fire, of dancing through life, of, I don't know, just enjoyment, like, la 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 la. This is what expresses, you know. But we kind of wanted to match this energy, as you said. We didn't own so much and accept, like, okay, this is me, I accept myself, but we tried to change ourselves to match the energy of other person. And yeah, slowly, first I started to feel trapped, and went on my own journey of like, okay, what can we change? Because we are both really committed to living our best life in line with our truth and also like accepting ourselves as we are. So it's really a crazy ride together. And
but what I really value is that you give each other space for this exploration, and you also give each other space for things to feel off for a while. Because I feel like too often I see people, well, there's, I guess, two different trends. Either you throw it all away right away, like that's more of my style. I'm like, oh, this is not minimum, my standards, I'm gonna go elsewhere, you know, which can go into, yes, holding your standards, and it also goes into avoidance at certain
we were
points.
talking a bit about it before.
I
mean, about both of these
and on the other side there's this, oh, because we're now in a committed relationship, we need to stick together just for the fucking sake of it. And I feel like you guys have really beautiful fluidity between this.
Because we are really not, I mean, like, it's really important for us, but at the same time we don't want to be in something that it's not long-term aligned with us and
so
doesn't
how do you
support
navigate
us.
it?
I mean, like, we have a lot of honest conversation, like honesty, and we have really good communication skills. Like, I would say we really are really good at it, because we have both this base of radical honesty and nonviolent communication, and also like other tools, and we've been in a lot of like spaces with sharings and everything.
So how did you get to this point that
at the beginning it was more of giving each other actually space for sharing. So we had regular sharings, like we opened the space for each other, and like, okay, now it's your time, you are expressing yourself, and other one is listening and not interrupting. Because I feel like a lot of times when we are triggered or something is going on, it's really hard to like hold this space, and
people go into defenses.
So I would say this really gave us this. And also Peter was really like, he really stood up in our relationship in the way, like, I definitely had this, because I have this fire, you know, like if something was triggering me, you know, like I was like bursting out, and I don't know, I wanted to escape, or I really made drama. And because he is really so stable in a way, but also we figured out that he was suppressing his anger a bit. So when we went through therapy with this somatic guy, like more of his anger started to come up. So the dynamic changes through relationship. But really, this like also taking responsibility for what we feel. Like we have really high awareness of our own responsibility for what we feel. I feel this is really what is our base, because we are aware that whatever comes up, it's like many times, I mean, like most of the times, from my perspective, is like something is triggered in me, of course, you know, like, this person, it doesn't mean that it's okay maybe sometimes what other person does, or I mean, like, okay, I don't know, it's not wrong
in their highest expression. It can also come from their shadow.
Definitely. But at the end, I'm the one, the receiver. How do I receive this, you know? It's on me. How do I accept it? And in relationships, definitely, like the deepest woundings come up, you know.
For sure. But this is a delicate dance, right? Because sometimes, like, that can leave you sometimes to be alone. Like, yes, you can express what you need without that expectation that the need needs to be fulfilled by the other, right? That's that self-responsibility where you still open yourself up to be met and to be received and to kind of co-regulate together. But that need, that grasp is kind of taken off of like, I would love that, and I'm able to self-soothe.
But not only self-soothe, but also to see your need and to reach out, not only in the bubble of your relationship. This is what we're also learning, you know, because like sometimes we have these expectation that we should have all our needs fulfilled inside of our relationship. Like my partner should give me everything, you know, but this is from my perspective, and what do I learn? Like, it's not realistic.
It's a romantic idea that we love.
That we see in Netflix series and we get mad from it.
Yeah.
From Bridgerton.
Yeah. But like, we had an interesting conversation yesterday when I shared something that stayed with me when I heard Teal Swan speak about it. And she shared in one of her videos that until you're willing and able to take your partner's needs as your own, you're not ready to be in a relationship.
Yes and no.
Yeah. So I would love to hear your perspective on this.
I would say it's more about being able to hold space for the needs of each other, and then being able to also know yourself and what is your capacity, and being able to not respond from the, like, if a partner expresses her or his needs, not to come from your from your wounding, you know, like from guilt, oh, I cannot fulfill this need, but like meeting his need and being honest with ourselves, when can we fulfill this and support him, and when not.
And frankly, I think what most of us really long for is to be acknowledged and seen in our pain and our need. So it's not in, you know, if I have a need and I want to express it to you, it's not again in that, oh, now you need to take it from me or take it yourself, but it's kind of like in that acknowledgement, you take it as an important information, an important aspect, and that alone usually brings the soothing and some kind of resolution, because at the core I really believe we just want to be seen, loved, accepted.
This openness from the other part, from the other partner, right? Not this closeness, because what
and rejection and wrongness and
exactly, because you know, usually when like I didn't feel like I have capacity, like many times my wounding came up, like, how can you have this need, like, can't you see I am like this and that, I cannot give you this and that, but like actually recognizing, oh wow, I don't have capacity at the moment, and it's okay, it's not something wrong with me, because usually this kind of dance that it's a bit toxic, toxic, starts from that we feel like we are not all right, and then we started to put on another partner, you are not okay because you have this need, or you know.
Yeah, and what I often see in either with my clients or my friends, not in my relationships, but I have definitely experienced that, where, you know, we are both in a trigger, we're both are hurting, and then we want the other partner to make the first move. Like, I need you to, I see you, I understand you, but I still want certain agenda of my own. And then it's like, I'm gonna let go if they're gonna let go, right?
It's
How
really
do you
about
navigate that?
What we've been learning, but I will say from myself, I've been learning, especially through nonviolent communication lately, like how to build the bridges and to see, like, I don't have to be right, like how can we be right together, you know, like not just seeing my right and proving my point, but like how can we, I'm still learning that, I need to say, like sometimes I fail, but really seeing this. And for me, deal breaker was also this, what I already shared for a few times, this, like, when we are in conflict or something, that we really have this touch and that we look each other into the eyes, because usually when it gets rough and ugly, maybe also it's when we are doing something and we are not actually like seeing, okay, and something is going on, we need to take a break, but we are like, I don't know, driving, or we are cooking, or we are packing our things and going somewhere and being in the rush. But when we actually are like, okay, something's going on, let's sit down, let's be here for each other, let's touch and look each other into eyes, like everything goes away so quickly, because you see, like, this is not your enemy on the other side, like it's us, like we want to be good together, you know, we want to be in love, and we, like you said, we just want to be seen and
looking for the same core thing, which
Yeah.
is that love connection.
exactly.
Aw.
You know, I'm getting emotional just by like looking at you and saying this.
But you know, I feel like this is really the basics of everything, not only
Yeah.
partnership conflicts, but it's like even your own internal, when you slow down, drop into that presence, that connection, and actually be with what is.
Yeah.
And if it's with your health, if it's with your body, if it's anything, this is really that core, non-negotiable, like you said.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful teacher and reflection a relationship is to what those core needs are. And what you also shared about you having that sharing space where you can actually express, and there's an agreement of how these situations are handled, right? There is this agreement that needs to be in place.
Yeah, definitely in the beginning when you're still learning to navigate this, because now it comes really naturally for us. But from the beginning, we really had to, kind of establish this practice between us, that each of us were aware of this agreement, as you say.
Yeah. And I think this is that what I call conscious drama club, where you don't need to then go into drama in other areas of life, or you don't need to keep poking because you're looking for that presence and recognition and acceptance from a partner, but you actually give space also for your internal processes to move and express, right, in the safe container that has a beginning and the end. And then you're able to take yourself out of it and not continue looping. And it's a beautiful way to keep closing cycles, which is something that I'm learning, and through the grounding of the processes. Right? Or even pausing if it doesn't need to come to the resolution even.
No. Yeah, was our learning also on the way, or it is. That sometimes we just actually need space, you know.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes so hard to take it. But if we actually do, and there was a situation on Friday, we had quite a deep conversation and deep triggering for me, and I really wanted his closeness and presence, but he was also triggered in all of that, and he needed his own space, and then I had it, and I actually was journaling, and it supported me so deeply, you know, because sometimes we also think, oh, we need to resolve everything together, like here at the time. But sometimes it's also what we need time.
And that can come from that anxious attachment, I feel, because you're afraid that you're going to lose something. But that's why I think just voicing, what is the base? What do we actually want here? And my bestie, Dragana, she likes to say, you know, in my perspective, it's never me against you. It's like you and me, not even against, but like with that central thing that we are kind of trying to work through. And I think this is such an important thing. Even like we started with not feeling well. It's not you against your body. It is like your holistic self working with something that's being presented to be resolved and realigned and reintegrated and so on.
Because so many times we can see like this things on the outside as our enemies, or even our own body, you know, like our partner, we see it as an enemy, we see ourselves as an enemy, we see nature as an enemy. Oh no, it's raining, oh, such an enemy. But like, no, how can we work with all of this? How can we see the gifts and this beauty in it, right? And also, like you said, to going through this burnout and chronic pain, you can really see your body like, what the fuck, you know, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this to me? Like,
so much pressure, criticism. That's again sense of wrongness. And I do think like this all steams out from the illusion of separation, which is creating war in this world, so much pain and suffering. And I think that kind of unity comes within us, and all of these relationships are such beautiful mirrors to that. So it feels like, you know, they say in Tantra that being in a deep, committed, authentic relationship, the conscious relationship, is one of the most confronting spiritual paths that you can take. That and running your own business.
I agree on both.
Well, I'm a Libra, so I guess I can.
Libra moon.
Love you. Love you too. There are some other things that I would love to ask you, but maybe it calls for another podcast or another conversation. But it's definitely interesting what you said about, you know, being supported financially by your partner. And, you know, I feel like this is something that a lot of women are feeling nowadays after these waves of feminism, where we needed to emancipate and really push into certain direction to get our rights. And now that we have them, we notice that it's not sustainable for us to keep going like these machines. We're cyclical creatures more than anyone else on this planet. And I always felt like that's such a privilege. That's so beautiful. There's this kind of primal sense in a lot of women that I notice that we want to be taken care of. We want to be provided for in different ways. The financial aspect is one of them. And I always felt for myself, and it took me a really long time to admit that I do want that support from my partnership. And that gives me then that relaxation in my body, because I still want to create, I still want to serve, but not from this space of survival, because it burns me out. And at the same time, you know, I was looking at you and being like, wow, how fucking beautiful. And at the same time, I know it comes with its own challenges.
Yeah, I definitely I went through process, and then we went through processes with it. I mean, at the beginning, it was quite okay for me, like, because I really needed that time. Like, for first half a year, it was like really natural. But at the same time, there was constantly present this thought, like, I want to earn my own money, because I'm also, I don't know what, I don't know, I'm Capricorn rising, what is
Capricorn Virgo. She's a hardworking bitch, actually.
Yeah, and I love to serve, you know, and I love to, I also love to have my own freedom, and this also gives me, you know, my own freedom to have my own income, to have my own money. So I always had it in the back of my mind, and like, when it was over this half a year, I guess, when I slowly started to get better, it started haunting me a lot, because I felt trapped in this. Because I feel, like you said, this was really for generations that we were actually trapped as women and dependent completely, you know, and like
it's another level of survival that comes when you're in an abusive relationship or whatever reason. It doesn't have to be that.
I don't know, and then also dynamics in relationship change, because like, he was giving me kind of like open-heartedly, even though he has sometimes also, like, from my perspective, this is my story, but like, as I say it, like, he has sometimes a bit of struggle with giving, also like gifts, and like he has something in here. So it was sometimes like, he is giving to me and he loves giving to me, but one part of him it was hard for him also,
for sure, like it's a process, again,
because it's also, you don't see this so much in society, right? So yeah, it was also kind of a bit of downward hole for us after some time, because then also my pattern came out, like, I'm not capable even of earning money, and also this fear of you know, like, because I went, like I said, through all of this chronic burnout, blah blah blah. I really came in tune with my body and my boundaries and my capacities, and my capacities are like, I am feeling much better now, but my healing is still a process. I am still like really feeling my body, how it needs this wave of active, like being active and rest, and active and rest. Like,
and you have a channel of mutation in your human design body graph, same as me, which is even more of like, there are periods of blossoming and very much outward inspiration movement, and there are deeper periods when it feels like nothingness, like void, like nothing's happening, and learning how to really hold that is a fucking mastery. And I'm still learning.
Yeah, me too, definitely. So it was this process of kind of opening up to this, that I can earn my money and that I have value. I'm learning this now, and also but
isn't it crazy that like having value as a human and earning money is so interconnected?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really amazing to come to this root of it, because I was not aware that it's so connected.
And even the fact that some jobs are higher paid and valued than the others, it's like, why? My Libra that wants equality struggles to understand that.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, someone was just saying how this world is crazy in a way, you know, that like somebody cleaning, how it's called, like cleaning lady or whatever. Like, this is so fucking important to live in clean, tidy spaces, and like our environment says so much about us, you know, how
and someone decided that this is a lower paying job. Like, who the fuck are you to decide that? I mean, of course, there needs to be some kind of standardization and some kind of a system, but we're very clearly seeing that it's not working. It's not supporting us in any fucking kind of way, this patriarchal system. And so I really feel like there's a deep, deep calling to come back to the matriarchy, which is not women ruling and men losing their rights, but it is very much of like this equality, which even in genekeys, it is not about we are now the same, doing the same kind of labor work, but it's like equality that comes from you nourishing your own gifts and your natural way of being and contributing.
Yeah, because it's like really, it doesn't seem right that everybody should like speak with their voices and be speakers and book writers. Like, this is not, you know, to earn money or to have value or to be coach. Like, it's not, it doesn't seem, you know, like, we need construction workers and carpenters and I mean, actually slowly it's getting like these jobs are also like these works are
and I mean
higher, but
as more and more people awaken to this and we start living in communities in connection with nature like you're living here, I think this is more becoming kind of, it's balancing itself out, yet on the way there you're met with the cycles that you're meeting yourself right now. And so
what I've came to realize is that like it's really amazing when partner can support you financially, but for me, for my own well-being in a way, it's really important to have one part of the income on my own. And because like you said, I'm still creating, I'm still doing, so this is the balance I think you can find through this, but it's nice to be also kind of supported
and
have this
yet again is it the other person that needs to be, because like I yearn for the masculine support, and that doesn't have to come in the container of a male partner, like masculine structure, masculine system that provides that baseline kind of cyclical flow that I feel supported by, and it can look in many different ways. So kind of shifting that narrative of who, what, how it needs to come from, and opening up to what would actually be supportive in a sustainable manner.
Yeah, we were just what came up maybe, and I want to share maybe some finishing thoughts, but like you said, this structure, because I was really running away from it. I had a lot of structure before in my life. I kind of really love structure.
Yeah, Capricorn, Virgo.
I've learned this on Eclectic. I was like on one retreat, dancing retreat, and we were learning choreography. And I really love to dance, but I haven't been so much in touch with choreography lately. Like, it's been more like ecstatic dance, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting how I enjoyed like that choreography, you know, that I actually had to focus on that structure. I couldn't think about other things. Like, this was at the moment present for me, and I feel like this really opened up my whole being again, to open to the structure, to feel safe. That structure is not something that is just from somebody else like imposing on me and just like putting me into a cage, but like, how can actually like this structure bring me freedom?
Yes, that is the highest expression of the Capricorn longing for this foundation. And this is why they also say, you know, like in polyamory and so on, open relationships, it's like people want freedom. But what often they don't realize is how much a committed partnership can give you that freedom. Like, it's again nuance after nuance, another podcast topic. But sure, and this is what we're building, a new structure, so that the new sense of freedom, which it was a fake sense of freedom that we've been receiving in the modern society of having more options and so on. I feel like we are rebuilding that.
Yeah, and what comes for me is like this structure. How can we connect this structure with nature, with cycles of nature? You know, that this structure doesn't look the same in summer as in winter. Because like if you just look outside, you know, like it's dark, I don't know, till 8 in the morning, or like it gets dark at 6 or 4 p.m. even, you know, like it cannot be the same structure, I feel. So
fluid structure,
really, like.
Yeah. And I think this is what the spiritual practice and consistency, discipline is all about. It gives you some kind of a framework that holds you. Having an altar, having a specific space where you come and meditate, having a morning routine, which within that space can look very different based on what your needs are in the moment, that time and that season of your life.
And this brings also this feminine aspect to it, like,
for sure, it has to be a balance. It's the yin and it's the yang that makes the wholeness, and this is what we're here for.
Wow, I feel like this really beautifully came out. I mean, there is not so much of red line to hold it, but
it's about well-being and authenticity, truth, and connection. This is the framework that holds us to be able to then explore. And this for me is astrology, you know, it gives me that framework, and then I can really navigate such a wide terrain, but it always leads to the essence, working with the essence.
I'm really grateful I actually did this.
Absolutely. I sat, like, we were both feeling fog, and I was like, once we put a microphone on and enter the space, it just flows.
But it was about also for me allowing ourselves, like, no, we don't have to do it.
It can be messy.
And me expressing like, oh, I don't know if I want to do it. Like, I feel I want to be like chilled and laid back. It's Sunday, like I want free flow, you know? And then it kind of naturally came.
And we free flowed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for flowing with me. Is there anything else that feels like you would like to express before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I feel really grateful for you. And really, really honored that I got this chance again to connect deeper with you. And yeah, I hope it also supports people listening to us, and that it brings, I don't know, some little seeds of whatever they need.
And then you're also creating some beautiful space. Like, if people want to connect with you, be with you, explore with you, what is out there?
Yeah, so wow, it actually feels so good that like I can share this with the world. I have monthly women's circles, or not so much just circles, it's really like dive into feminine, masculine, into life, just into Yoni Galaxy, you know, like we really just dive through pleasure, through touch, through connection. I really my base is really this sisterhood also. For me, it's really powerful. It's not just women and individuals, but how can we come together? How can we meet each other from the safety, from authenticity, from vulnerability? So it's a lot about sisterhood also. So this is this, and
what I really love and value about both of our works, to be honest. We had this conversation yesterday. It is all about really connecting with our authenticity, with our inner authority, with our truth, so that we have a discernment. It's not like we come here, we do this because this is how it's done, because this is how traditional practices were. It's like, no, how does it work with you? How do you feel this? What is the invitation? Does it feel good? Respecting your boundaries. So I love that you bring, and that gives that sense of safety, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we both create really safe spaces.
And that's the most important. I think as a guidance for everyone when entering certain spaces, and especially in the realms of tantra, sexuality, pleasure practices, which we both kind of navigate through, really that sense of safety where you have your own freedom of choice, liberty, what works for you at what time, to be able to go at your own pace with the discernment that no, it's not like that just because someone said so. You gotta feel it in your body.
Exactly. Definitely.
I wanted to add that note.
Thank you for adding this.
Yeah,
we are both really passionate about this. So, and probably, I don't know when you will publish this, but something new is coming up, some new offer in a way of ritual pieces of ceramics. So I'm really looking forward to release this.
Some vulva.
Well, not so secret anymore, but yeah, let's see. So this is coming out, and yeah, I have my own podcast, so welcome to listen to it if you speak Slovenian.
Yeah, and we did one on yours in the
Yes, we
summertime.
did.
And
really
I will
beautiful.
put your links in the show notes below. It is your Instagram handle is
Intimately Havvah.
That's right.
Intimately meet me.
And thank you for intimately meeting Cosmic Asplorations with me here now.
It feels really juicy.